You know, some songs are just catchy tunes, right? But every now and then, a pop hit manages to capture something so fundamental about the human experience that it just becomes timeless. Today, we're going to look at an iconic 80s ballad and uncover its absolutely surprising connection to the very core of modern psychology.
I mean, you know this line. It's the absolute heart of Paul Young's classic power ballad, a lyric that practically defines soulful heartbreak for the entire 1980s.
Yeah, this is that classic, dramatic, over-the-top, but deeply felt emotion that made the music from that era so unforgettable. It's just pure, raw feeling, you know?
But what if that feeling of literally losing a piece of yourself isn't just a poetic turn of phrase? What if it's a real, documented psychological phenomenon that actually explains how we connect with other people? Well, to figure this all out, we've got to start with the song itself.
All right, so let's dive right in. First up, the song. Why did this particular track become such a huge cultural touchstone?
Okay, so the 80s power ballad, it was basically a masterclass in emotional engineering. It blended the big energy of rock with this raw, almost painful vulnerability. You'd get these slow, tender verses that would just, bam, explode into these massive, soaring choruses. The lyrics were all about intense love, agonizing heartache, and that deep, deep longing, which made them the perfect soundtrack for all of our own personal dramas.
And here's the thing that might surprise you. The version we all know and love is actually a cover. Daryl Hall and John Oates wrote and recorded it way back in 1980 for their album Voices, but they never even released it as a single. Nope, it wasn't until 1985 when Paul Young got his hands on it, with that iconic fretless bass and his incredibly soulful vocals, that the song became a global phenomenon. And I mean, what a phenomenon it was. This thing went straight to #1 on the US Billboard Hot 100 chart, cementing its place in music history forever.
So we've established the song was a massive hit, but its success isn't just about the sound. It's about the story it tells, and this is where things get really fascinating.
Just listen to these lines for a second. The narrator is completely trapped. They see this potential for an amazing relationship, but they're stuck in this painful, repeating cycle. Their partner leaves them over and over whenever someone new and exciting, the leading man, comes along. It is always the same thing.
So when you really break it down, the song is about this deeply dysfunctional pattern. The narrator feels this profound sense of loss with every single departure, like a literal piece of them is getting ripped away. It's just such a powerful description of feeling incomplete and being totally unable to stop a cycle that's causing so much pain.
And that feeling, that sense of being incomplete, like a piece of you is literally gone, that's not just a song lyric. It's the exact feeling at the very heart of a major psychological framework we call attachment theory.
So yeah, the raw emotion in this song, it is not just a metaphor. It maps perfectly onto the science of how we form bonds with other people and what happens when those bonds feel like they're about to break.
Okay, so first up, we've got secure attachment. These are folks who generally have a positive view of themselves and of other people. They're totally comfortable with intimacy and they trust that their partners will be there for them. This is pretty much the foundation for healthy, stable relationships.
Then you've got the anxious attachment style. These individuals often have a negative view of themselves, but a really positive one of others. They crave closeness, but they're living with this constant nagging fear of being rejected or abandoned. They need a lot of reassurance to feel safe.
And finally, we have the avoidant attachment style. These people tend to have a positive view of themselves, but a kind of negative one of others. They really prioritize independence and self-reliance, and they often see intimacy as a threat to their freedom. They'll often push partners away if they feel like they're getting too close.
So right here, this table just lays it all out so clearly. Secure people are trusting. Anxious people can come off as clingy because they're absolutely terrified of being left. And avoidant people tend to stay distant, always protecting their independence. Are you starting to see a pattern here?
Okay, so how does all this psychology stuff connect back to that profound feeling of loss in the song? Well, some pretty recent science gives us a stunningly clear answer.
Check this out. A 2024 study published in the International Journal for Multidisciplinary Research did exactly that. Researchers looked at the direct relationship between a person's attachment style and how lonely they felt.
And whoa, the results are crystal clear. The study found a strong link between both the avoidant and anxious styles and higher levels of loneliness. But a secure attachment style actually showed the complete opposite. It acts like a buffer, protecting against loneliness. The bottom line? Insecure attachment styles are scientifically proven to make us feel more alone. It's not just a feeling, it's a documented link.
And boom. This brings us right back to our song. That desperate cry, "You take a piece of me with you," is the perfect anthem for the anxious attachment style. It's the fear of abandonment made real, where a partner leaving creates this void so deep it feels like a physical part of you is just gone, leaving you with that intense loneliness the study confirmed.
So why, after all these years, why does this song still hit so hard? It's because it accidentally stumbled into being a perfect psychological case study set to an amazing beat. All right, let's just trace this whole journey one last time, because it's pretty wild. We started with a powerful feeling captured in a song. Then we saw how the lyrics describe a pattern that perfectly mirrors the anxious attachment style. Then, modern science comes along and confirms this exact attachment style is strongly linked to feelings of loneliness and loss. The reason it lasts? It's because it tapped into something so real, so fundamental about how we all connect. I mean, even Rolling Stone nailed it, saying the song resonates because it speaks to the emotional void and heartache that comes with separation. It gave a voice to a feeling that, as we're now saying, is deeply rooted in our actual psychology.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? The songs we connect with the most deeply, they often do that because they're reflecting our own experiences right back at us. So, maybe the next time you put on one of your favorite songs, one that really gets you, just ask yourself, what is this music revealing about me?